boys and girls, this is Mrs. Walsh bringing you today's virtual art lesson where we are going to finish our trees that are going to be turned into a three-dimensional tree today, and then we're going to add a little snowman down there next to the tree in the snow. I had told you from the past lesson that you needed to keep your scraps from when we built the tree, so you can see I have those ready to use. I also found a scrap piece of paper because I need to make a snowman to go by my tree. So if you do not have a piece of scrap paper left over from this lesson, or you have something nearby that you could use, you could pause the video and find yourself just a small piece of white paper that we're going to be making a snowman out of. And then I of course have a pair of scissors and a glue stick to help me finish our tree. I'm going to set these aside for right now because I don't need those at first. I am going to need my glue stick and I am going to need my tree, and the glue stick is going to come in handy in a couple different ways. Of course we're going to use it to glue with, but we're also going to use it, as you might be able to see here, to curl our tree limbs, making it more three-dimensional instead of just laying flat like the rest of the paper. And the way I start the process is I take each branch of the tree and I wrap it around my glue stick just to do something you might refer to as training the paper to curl a little bit. And then when I get it curled right up against the paper like so, I'm going to pull the glue stick out. And I might try that again, but now that it wants to bend in that direction, I'm going to curl it around in on itself a little bit tighter so it looks like a curly tendril of hair, a curly Q. And then I'm going to loosen that up, and I'm going to use how the paper has wanted to curl to twist it around. So I've got, you can see, if I can pick my paper up, a loop-de-loop in this little ribbon of paper that is the tree branch. And now I'm going to twist my glue stick open. Make sure I got some glue showing up there at the top. And I want this part to attach to my background paper. So I'm going to put some glue on here, and I'm going to put a little bit of glue where I want it to stick to. I'm going to push that down, kind of push it so it stays stuck. And there you have this cool three-dimensional looking tree limb. And I'm going to go through and I'm going to do that over and over again with each one of my tree limbs. Now sometimes I'm going to curl the tree limb in the opposite direction and get creative and see what I get when I do this and it swirls in different directions. So the first time it just kind of gets the paper bending that way. The second time I'm going to use my fingers to make it a little bit tighter. Just, you're training the paper so it wants to stick up and out instead of just forcing it, which usually ends up putting creases on your paper. Now I can do the curly Q, and maybe I even want this one to come underneath that one. And maybe if I curl it enough, I could even do that twice. Ooh, I like the look of that 3D. So now I gotta hold it there, carefully get my glue back open. Guess it might be helpful if you had two glue sticks. You could use one for the curling and one for the gluing. But stick glue to glue for this to stay nice. If you just put glue on the back of that branch and you don't do it to the paper too, this usually, because of the tension from curling it, pops back up off the paper. Now I'm going to do all the rest of my branches, but I'm going to speed this film up so that you see what I'm doing, but it's not going to take nearly as much time. And then when the video slows back down automatically, we'll be at the point where all my branches are done. So see you in a bit. Presto changeo, there we go. all of my branches have been curled and glued down. So when I turn my paper like this, ooh, they pop off the page, making my tree a 3-dimensional tree. Now, I am going to make a little snowman down here in the snow, and I'm gonna build it out of that scrap paper and my extra piece of white paper that I told you to get when we started today. So if you need to draw on this paper before you cut, that's perfectly acceptable. I'm gonna actually build my snowman out of 3 circles. I'm not just gonna do the outline of 3 circles already connected. So I'm gonna draw a circle to cut out for the bottom of my snowman. I'm gonna do a little bit smaller one next to that. And then I'm gonna do an even smaller one for the head. And I'm gonna cut around these before I try and cut them out, because that way there's less paper in my way as I try to get more careful with cutting out the circles. I'm gonna start with the hardest one, the smallest one. So I'm carefully gonna come in and cut out what's gonna become my snowman's head. I'm gonna set that aside. And then I'll do the middle snowball for his body. And then the last one, which should be the easiest one, just because it's a little bit bigger. The scissors are getting caught in that scrap a little bit. There we go. And there I have the last snowball for my snowman. This is pretty small, so I'm going to set that aside. And then where do I want to locate my snowman? Probably over here. So I'm going to put these in series and glue them on my paper. And I'm putting glue on the side where you can see those little bits of pencil that I drew them with, so that the side that I'm building them with is the clean side and is just white. So there's the bottom of my snowman. There's the middle of my snowman. And last but not least, the itty bitty top of the snowman. So cute. And then that brown paper, although this is a lot of brown paper to do this with, my glue keeps falling over, sorry. I'm gonna make little branch arms out of this. So I'm gonna cut a little branch out with some little fingers on the end carefully. And when you cut this tiny, you gotta be really careful with those scissors, because A, you can make a mistake and cut something you don't mean to, and hopefully that thing you don't mean to is not your finger. That's a little bit long, so I'm gonna cut this a little shorter. Beep. And put some glue on it. And the nice thing is, this is still that brown paper that we colored both sides, so it doesn't matter what side I want to put the glue on. Both sides are brown. And let's make another arm for the other side. Up, out, in, down. Little snowman hand with the branches of a tree. That's a cute one. Glue that one on. And then I think he might be pretty cute with a hat. So I'm gonna take my white paper, draw him, that's too big, draw him a snowman hat with an ellipse, and the top comes up like so. And then I'm gonna find a marker to color that in, because for some reason you always gotta put a hat on a snowman and it's black, huh? Like the top hat from Frosty the Snowman that was magic, I guess. So I'll bring his little snowman hat, add that nice little detail. Once I get that colored in, don't cut it out, cut around it first. Make your life a little bit easier when it comes to cutting. I'm gonna set my scraps aside. Now I'll get a little bit more detailed with my cut. Watch your fingers, always be careful. Use your scissors safely. And once I have his little hat cut out, ugh, that's a tough curve that small. There we go. See if it fits him. Oh, that's perfect. A little glue on the back of that one. We'll put his hat on there. So cute. And then with my Sharpie marker, or it doesn't have to be Sharpie, it can be any kind of black marker that you have, even different colors if you need them. Let's do some eyes and his mouth and some buttons down the front. I have an orange crayon. I can do a little carrot nose on there. And I think you could use pencil. I happen to have a gray crayon, but underneath him, I'm just gonna put a little shadow. So there is my snowman in the snow. And my three-dimensional sculpted tree, which is absolutely fantastic. That concludes our 3D tree virtual art lesson for this week. I am so happy you enjoyed and showed up to class to complete this with me. For credit, please snap a picture of this and upload it to the Google Classroom for art so I can give you credit for completing your virtual art lesson this week. Thank you, boys and girls. Have a great day.